For hundreds of thousands of years, humanity was a wanderer, a nomad adrift on the vast, untamed canvas of Earth. We were creatures of instinct, driven by the primal rhythm of survival. But then, something profound happened. A monumental choice was made, not by one person, but by the collective will of our species. We stopped walking. This is the story of the moment humanity traded endless wandering for a patch of ground to call home. A decision that didn't just change our lifestyle, it rewrote our destiny. For millennia, the life of Homo sapiens was one of constant motion. We were hunter-gatherers, our existence dictated by the ebb and flow of nature's bounty. Our world was a cycle of migration, a perpetual journey in pursuit of roaming herds and the seasonal flourishing of edible plants. We lived in small, agile bands, typically no more than a few dozen individuals, where every member was essential for the group's survival. In this nomadic world, efficiency was everything. Knowledge was passed down not in books, but in the tracks of an animal, the shape of a leaf, and the shifting patterns of the stars. The strengths of this lifestyle were its flexibility and resilience. If resources dwindled in one area, we simply moved to the next. But it also had profound limitations. Life was precarious, dependent on the whims of the environment. There was little room for anything beyond the immediate needs of food, water, and shelter. The concept of a future of long-term planning was a luxury we couldn't afford. Then, the world began to change, and with it, so did we. Around 12,000 years ago, the great glaciers of the last ice age retreated, ushering in a warmer, more stable climate. This climatic shift dramatically altered ecosystems across the globe. The vast, cold steppes that supported massive herds of megafauna, like mammoths and woolly rhinos, began to shrink, replaced by forests and grasslands. These large animals, which had been a primary food source for our ancestors, started to decline, forcing us to adapt our hunting strategies. Simultaneously, the human population, though still small by modern standards, was steadily growing. This growth created unprecedented pressure on available resources. The old way of simply moving to a new, untouched valley was becoming less viable as more groups competed for the same territories. Amidst these pressures, a revolutionary discovery was made, a quiet observation that would echo through eternity. Humans noticed that seeds dropped on the ground would sprout into new plants. We realized that we didn't just have to find food, we could create it. The idea that nature could be controlled, that plants could be cultivated, was born. This realization sparked the birth of early agriculture. It began as a series of small, tentative experiments. Our ancestors started by protecting and tending to patches of wild grains like wheat and barley, or nutritious plants they favored. Over time, they learned to actively select the seeds from the most robust and productive plants, beginning the slow process of domestication. The first harvests were likely meager, but the concept was revolutionary. For the first time, humans could produce more food than they immediately needed. Basic farming tools were developed: simple digging sticks to break the soil, stone sickles to harvest grain. This ability to generate a food surplus was perhaps the single most transformative development in human history. It broke the cycle of daily survival, creating a buffer against uncertainty and laying the foundation for a new way of life. At the same time we were learning to control plants, we began to forge a new relationship with the animal kingdom. The process of domestication, which had likely started thousands of years earlier with the dog as a hunting companion and protector, accelerated. Wild goats, sheep, and cattle were gradually tamed and brought into the human fold. These animals became a living, walking food supply, providing a reliable source of meat, milk, and hides. They were more than just food. They served as guards for our new settlements, and eventually, as labor to pull plows and carry burdens. This partnership represented a profound strengthening of human control over the natural world. We were no longer just a part of the ecosystem. We were actively shaping it to suit our needs. The ability to produce our own food in one place made the nomadic lifestyle obsolete. For the first time, there was a reason to stay. This led to the rise of permanent settlements. Simple, durable houses were constructed from mud, wood, and stone. A stark contrast to the temporary shelters of the past. Areas were designated for storing surplus grain, protecting the fruits of our labor from weather and pests. These clusters of homes grew into the first villages. The shift was more than just architectural. It was psychological. We moved from the mindset of a guest passing through the land to an owner putting down roots. These stable communities became the crucibles where a new, more complex human society would be forged. Life in these new villages was fundamentally different. The shared work of farming and building required a level of cooperation never seen before. This led to a division of labor. While some individuals focused on cultivating the fields, others could specialize in hunting, building structures, or crafting tools. As villages grew and tasks became more complex, the need for organization and decision-making arose, giving birth to the first forms of leadership and social hierarchy. Individuals who were skilled at managing resources, organizing labor, or resolving disputes naturally gained influence. Family structures also strengthened as land and property became tied to lineage. The concept of community deepened, evolving from a small, mobile survival unit into a large, stationary society with shared interests and a collective future. This new social structure was mirrored by an economic and cultural evolution. The food surplus was the engine of this change. With enough food to feed everyone, not all members of the community needed to be involved in its production. This freed people to become artisans and craftsmen. They could create better pottery for storing food and water, weave more durable textiles, and fashion more effective tools. The surplus also enabled trade between villages. A community with an abundance of grain could trade it for flint, obsidian, or other resources from a neighboring settlement. This interaction fostered the growth of a nascent economy and spurred further innovation. As people lived together for generations in one place, shared traditions, stories, and rituals flourished, creating a unique cultural identity for each community. The first seeds of art, religion, and collective memory were planted in the fertile soil of these permanent settlements. However, this great transformation came with a new set of consequences. The stability and reliable food supply led to a dramatic increase in population. Villages grew into towns, and eventually, the first cities began to emerge. With permanent settlement came the concept of property. A field that a family had cleared and cultivated was no longer just a piece of land. It was their asterisk land. This led to the idea of territory and the need to defend it, while cooperation within communities grew stronger. Conflict between communities also increased, as they competed for land, water, and resources. Yet, it was this very system of property, conflict, and cooperation that laid the groundwork for organized society as we know it. This pivotal era marks the dawn of civilization. Humanity's focus shifted from the short-term, instinct-driven world of survival to a new paradigm of long-term planning and investment. We began to think in terms of seasons, of generations, of building a future for our children. The surplus of time and resources allowed for the development of abstract thought, leading to the birth of culture, law, and complex social order. This was the first monumental step on the long road toward the intricate, interconnected civilizations that would eventually span the globe. It was a gamble, a trade-off of freedom for security, but it was a gamble that would ultimately define the human story. In that moment, a choice was made. No longer would we be wanderers, subject to the whims of nature. By planting a seed, by building a wall, by choosing to stay, humanity claimed the land as its own. This settlement was more than a change in address. It was a declaration of ambition, a statement of our intent to master our environment rather than be mastered by it. The end of our nomadic journey was not an end at all. It was the true, foundational beginning of civilization itself.